Hello, I am Ava Mazzaros, Managing Editor of Specialty Food News. I am here today with Jeni Britton Bauer of Jenis Splendid Ice Creams at the Summer Fancy Food Show. Thank you so much for being here, Jeni.
It's my pleasure.
Now, your team pulled off a full recall in a very short amount of time back in April. Can you talk more about that process and how you navigated it? What were the first steps you took?
So we we found a pound or they found a pint of ice cream with listeria in it. Within 12 hours, we had done a full recall, brought everything back. So when we found out about it, we as a team had to come together and decide what do we do? I mean, do we go out and test a whole bunch of other things and recall just one product? Or do we just rip off the Band-Aid, bring it all back, figure out what happened, and then start again? And we all decided that's just the best thing to do. So once we found that, we put that in motion. We made a plan. We ran it by the FDA. They approved it, and the next day, I mean, within 12 hours, we were notifying our retailers and closing stores and pulling everything back. Quite an undertaking, but in our minds, completely worth it. Now, only 2 pints ever tested positive. Out of all of that ice cream, we did test a whole bunch of it. So we still think it was definitely the right thing to do, but it's in the end sort of made us feel better about it.
And what was your approach in communicating with your customers, with your buyers?
Our team wanted to make sure that our buyers heard it from us first before they got an email or heard about it anywhere else. And so they set to work calling personally every one of our retailers, which was a sort of sad and sometimes wonderful community thing to do too. And then the emails went out, and then eventually, of course, press picked up on it and informed others. We also, of course, informed all of our customers that we have very vast email database, so we're working on that too.
Were there any concerns among your staff as this was happening? How did you handle communications internally? How did you kind of keep everyone's spirits up while this was going on?
Well, we just kept communication open. I mean, we kept talking to people. I mean, that was, that's the most important thing in, I think, just anyway in business. But you sort of build your company as a communication company, for things like this too, for crisis. And so we were able to just keep our communication channels open. Different teams set out in different paths to solve different problems, and we all sort of kept together and kept that really tight.
Have there been any misunderstandings in the process? You had the first closure due to listeria and the second closure of shops due to supply. I understand that was maybe sort of came up in the media as another listeria catch. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so the second, we recalled all of this ice cream, just so much of it, and then we were down inventory. So what you do in a normal situation, and what our protocols call for now, is that we're looking for listeria constantly in our kitchen, and other things too that we had been looking for even before. And so we're swabbing and doing all these things. When you find it, you shut down, get rid of it, and then start back up again. Well, we had gotten rid of a whole bunch of ice cream, all of our inventory, 6 months worth of inventory. So we didn't have the inventory to keep our stores open after that. We also didn't think we would find it again, and then we did, and so now we've figured that all out. But it was it was just really about we couldn't supply the stores while we were down to do that. Normally though we would, and that's the kitchen that we're building now, and the sort of model that we're building now, that we won't have that that sort of risk.
Did anything feel sort of out of your control while you were going through the initial recall process? It sounds like you had a really good grip really quickly on how to do things. How did that feel?
Did anything feel out of our control? I mean, in many ways, it does feel out of control. And so I think what you have to do is focus on what you can do right now and just do your best with every little decision you have in front of you, which then adds up. But I think yeah. I mean, we'd never been through this before. Hopefully, never will again. But it's all about these little choices that you have to make that are right in front of you, and not focusing on the giant picture, because it can feel like it's too big of a mountain.
And then on the flip side of that, what's the most important thing that you think you've learned from this experience that you would want to share with the food community?
Well, I think the most important thing is that you have to set your own standards. So obviously in your products and your service, but also in your safety protocols, you set your own standards and make them way higher than what anybody else is doing. And that applies to every single thing you do, how you treat people, the product you make, where you get your ingredients, and all of those things add up to be you. And that's also the exact same in your in how you make your product and your safety protocols.
Now, a number of exhibitors, at this event or just in the specialty food world in general, they're afraid of this sort of thing happening, in their world, and what we hope it doesn't do is deter an entrepreneur from pursuing their passion for specialty foods. What would you say to those companies who are really nervous about this sort of thing happening and who might feel deterred from entering the specialty food world?
Well, you should be nervous. That's the first step, because if you're freaked out by it, then you solve it from the very beginning. That's actually a great place to be. It's you can if you're starting in business, you build your safety team from the beginning. If you're already in business, I recommend going in and doing that now anyway. Now is a good time to take a look at your safety protocols. I think the artisanal food has been a little bit under the radar. I think that's an okay thing to say, and I think that's about to stop. So now is the time to get back in there and make sure that you are doing everything you possibly can, and that you're building your safety protocols the same way you're building your product. And that's a great thing to do, and you just make it, and then you do it, and you adhere to it. And every year you go back and you look at it again, and you get better and better and better, just like you do when you make your product and like you're building your business.
And now we're obviously here at the Summer Fancy Food Show, and I know briefly you guys were considering, whether you should attend because you don't have the ice cream product with you. You decided to attend anyway. You wanted to be here. Can you talk a little bit more about what drove that decision and how your first day at the show was?
We felt that we wanted to be here just because we'd had so much support. I mean, again, we sort of feel like we're a community of people that sort of build up that make up this business, And we wanted to be here to sort of show our support back, to build that personal, we have so many friends here, and so being able to shake hands, give hugs, look people in the eye, that is so much more effectual, I guess, than an email or whatever. And so this is a great spot for us to do that. I mean, everybody's here. It's good for us to just stand. We don't have ice cream. That's okay. We will have it. We wouldn't be here if we weren't going to have it in the future. So we'll be back, and that's a great way to send that message.
Fantastic. Well, it's wonderful to have you here. I think everyone's happy to have you here, and really appreciate you taking the time to chat about this experience. And it sounds like you guys are coming out all stronger for it.
I think so. Yes, without question.
Thank you so much, Jeni.
Thank you.